Hi, I'm Seleena and I'm here to talk to you all about zines. I'm going to go through the history of zines briefly, how to make a one-page zine and how to start a page for a collective zine. Zines are essentially self-published magazines, and the word zine being the four-letter word at the end of magazine. The term was first coined in around the 1930s. Prior to that, in kind of the 1920s, a lot of sci-fi fans were making little pamphlets to distribute, talking about fantasy and sci-fi. And then somebody came up with the word zine, which is a shortened version of fanzine. So fans making self-published magazines. They had like a resurgence in the 1970s with the punk movement. So a lot of punk music fans would also make zines that were about the music they love, but also about the political movements that went with that time, which then filtered into the 1980s and the 90s, up to present day, where now zines are used by many different people for a number of things, not just ways of getting out your message, your beliefs, or the things that you love. They're used for people's art practices, they're used for kind of like journal documentation, for pictures, recipes, anything at all. Zines can be pretty much about anything at all. So we've got a few different ones here. So I make zines about crafts, about race, about class, and even about crisps, because I love crisps. Zines can be any shape or size. That is completely up to you. This size is the most common format. Another really common format is this size. So these are all what you'd call a one-page zine. So these are made from one piece of paper using one folding scale, and they're probably the easiest and simplest zine to make. So I'm going to show you now how to make a one-page zine. To make your one-page zine, you will need a piece of A4 paper, a pair of scissors, and a pen. Some optional extras for your zine: old magazines or newspapers, stickers, old wrapping paper, a glue stick, some washi tape, stencils, felt tip pens and markers, basically anything you can get creative with. Firstly, take your piece of paper and fold it in half lengthways. Then fold that piece of paper in half widthways. Unfold and fold the outside edges in towards centre fold. Unfold the paper completely and then fold again half widthways. Take your scissors and cut from the centre fold down the crease until the next crease. Unfold the paper fully, fold in half lengthways and stand on. Now the tricky part. Pull those sides away from each other and then fold into a booklet shape. And there you have your empty one-page zine. And now to fill my zine with a bunch of wonderful things. What's great about one-page zines is that they are a really good place to start if you are a first-time zine maker. They're also a really good thing to make if you just have something small you want to say or want to share with. I always make one-page zines if I've just done a big project on anything. I just want to do something that is a bit quicker, spend a few hours or a couple of days. In terms of what you need, it's just a lot less than what you need for making a bigger zine. And I think I also like how they're small and handy and you can pop them into like your pocket or your bag and pass them on easily to friends. My favourite kind of zines are ones that are filled with a lot of passion. So ones that when people write or illustrate or tell me about things that they really love. Often those ones are called fanzines because you're a fan of something. Those are always my favourite ones to read because I get so much joy from them. I also love, and one of the reasons I love zines is because they are a platform for people that often don't get to share their stories or tell people about their lives. So I like zines that are by people of colour, disabled people, queer people, lots of people that you wouldn't necessarily hear in magazines and mainstream media. And I think that for me is the beauty of zines, that it is creating a space for these people that don't often get heard or take up a space to be able to tell their stories and share their thoughts and feelings. And I think that's why I still love zines even after making them for 20 years and reading them for 20 years. They're still one of my favourite things. Another great thing about zines is collaboration. I really love collective zines, especially if they are from a marginalised group or people that don't often get heard, because you get to hear different perspectives, different stories, different ideas from all different kinds of people. And now I'm going to show you how to make a page for a collective zine. So there is no right or wrong way of making zines, another reason why they are great. But sometimes it's hard to get started. Sometimes you need prompts or people giving you tips and tricks and things to do. So that's what we'll do now. When I am making a page for a collective zine, usually the zine is an A5 size zine, which is this size. So I'll take an A4 piece of paper and I will cut it in half. So I always work on singular sheets like this. Then it's really handy to create a border with a pencil. So when you're working on your paper, you're not going to work right to the edge. So you just do kind of like 1/2 centimetre around each side. So then when it's being photocopied, you're not going to get any of your work cut off, which is really good. The great thing about zines is that you're in charge of what you want to put in there. So I always find that you don't have to draw or write or do whatever. You can do what you find comfortable and what you enjoy. I don't particularly enjoy drawing, so therefore I use a lot of collage and stickers and sticking things down. I also sometimes find that I don't like writing, so I'll use stickers or stencils instead of my own handwriting. Or if you have access, you can type things out on a computer and print them out. To do when making a zine is think of ideas. So I'm going to talk you through some prompts that you could possibly use. So I've got some stickers here, and I'm just writing the word prompts. Prompts are just really ideas, starting points for you to think what you can make your zine about. One of my favourite prompts is always, what would you want to read about? So what would you want to see in a zine or read about, or something that you think is missing? So I always think of something that I would enjoy. Another good one is, what advice would you give to your younger self? If we're talking about messages or words or sentiments or anything like that, what brings me joy? A lot of the zines and work I've thought about this year particularly is what brings me joy. So this year has been really hard, so I'm trying to find joy in as many little things as possible. What would you want to say but you can't always? So anything you find difficult. Sometimes I find putting something in a zine helps me with that. I can't always express how I'm feeling, so noting things down with some doodles or some collages always helps. What message would you give to the future, whether that's future you, people you know, young people? The world is a very difficult place at the moment, so what would you like to see? What change would you bring into effect? What changes have happened? So that's just some ideas that you could use for your prompts. If you want to create more than one page, I would then start again on another page, another singular page, where you can add more text or images or collages, some stenciling, some stickers, just a slogan, a word on how you're feeling, how you would interpret it. That honestly, with zines, the possibilities are endless and you can create anything that you want to. One of my favourite zines that I got the pleasure of working on was with a group called Safety for Sisters. They were a group of migrant women who support each other. The zine I loved because it was a collection of things in there. It had stories, it had high points, it had low points, it had several languages. Whatever you want to tell or you want to share, you can put in a zine. One thing to remember, that you don't need any special skills to make a zine. I have so many people say, oh, I'm not a writer, I'm not an artist, I'm not this, I'm not that. If you're a person that has a story to share, or a message you want to send, then, or just something you want to put down onto paper, then that is the only skill that you need to make a zine. I fully believe anybody can make zines, anybody can contribute to zines, and that the main thing is to remember to have fun, and that is the beauty of zines.